that closed out their series at home last night. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in 10 years, the Indiana Pacers have won a playoff series.
All right. Yeah.
Tyrese Halliburton, Obi Toppin, Pascal Siakam, and the entire crew beat the Milwaukee Bucks with Dame Dalla playing alongside a few other. Now, obviously, Tyrese Halliburton has taken this city like a fish does to water. Sure. We all love this man. Miles Turner's been here a long time. I'm happy he's gotten a chance to reap the benefit of this particular squad. TJ McConnell over there, bottom right corner, Yinzer, Pittsburgher. People were saying that he was a liability on the court. Well, last night in the playoff series clinching win, he won for 20 and some.
No big
won for 20
deal.
and some. TJ McConnell's starting to cook. Ooh, how do you feel? Great. TJ McConnell's balling, and the Pacers win a playoff series for the first time since 2014. Now, that should be the story.
Should be.
Should.
Indiana, a place that loves basketball. Pacers, a historic brand in the NBA. The Pacers, with so much history of greatness, have finally had success in the playoffs and will move on to the next round. But instead, the story is that Pat Beverley's an asshole.
Yeah.
Okay? Patrick Beverley obviously been in the NBA for like 15 years. He is a man who I think a lot of people know because of his personality, his antics, and his lockdown defense. Well, he's old enough to know that what he did at the end of the game on the court was something you can never do as a professional athlete. He takes the ball, look at him, he's on the far right side there. Boom, goes to throw it at somebody, instead hits a woman in the head. A unsuspecting woman. Then the guy throws the ball back and he says, well, you thought I missed you the first time. Boom! Throws it back at a member of the Indiana Pacers crowd. There's the first one. Jeez. Misses the guy with the long yellow sleeves underneath the hoodie and hits woman in head, Patrick Beverley, okay? So then the guy's like, well, geez, what are we even doing? He throws a lollipop back. Hey, I think something slipped out of your hand. He just gave a concussion to a woman here. Now, she's from Indiana. She's a Pacers fan. She's tough.
Sure, of course.
She laughed it off immediately after getting hit in the head with a basketball whenever she's not even paying attention. Pacers just sealed first playoff series win in 10 years. She go, what the hell? There's no way somebody threw a ball at my head. Yeah, actually, a guy on the bench who had 6 points tonight is the guy that actually threw that at your head. 6 points, can't hit shit, misses the human he's trying to hit in the crowd, hits somebody else, gets the ball back. He goes, that was for you. Sends another one out there. So obviously this is something where you look at, guy just threw a temper tantrum, hissy fit. What a bum, you'd start saying. He's throwing balls at the crowd. Okay, and I think Patrick Beverley would defend himself and say it's unfair. They've been saying stuff all night and yada, yada, yada. Well, you're getting paid to be there. They're paying to be there. And in the NBA, the crowd is on top of you. So I think the exchanges do get escalated quickly, especially if you're somebody who's super emotional, like we've seen Patrick Beverley to be in the past. We've seen him cry after winning a play-in game and excitement and clinch a 7th seed for the playoffs. And Patrick Beverley wears his heart right here. So throwing to the ball thing, they're saying he's going to be suspended. Of course, everybody understands that. Then there was a moment in the locker room afterwards, and this is the one that really pissed off the journalists.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, this is the one that really, really, really pissed off the journalists.
Yeah.
Here's Patrick Beverley at his locker room after scoring 6 points in a game in which they lose the playoff series, asking a question to a legendary ESPN producer about his podcast.
Here. Excuse me, I'm sorry before I finish. Yeah. You subscribe to my pod?
Do I subscribe to you? I do not subscribe.
So you can't interview me then. No
Okay,
disrespect.
Well, Jamal is here.
You subscribe? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Again, there were a couple times within a bucket or two. In previous games, y'all have been able to.
Okay, so interesting video there because he turns to Melinda Adams. Melinda spelled with 2 A's. Okay, Malinda, and then Adams 2 A's as well. She is beloved, from what I've learned, around X and Twitter all morning by everybody that's basically ever gone through ESPN has talked about how professional she is. But if you look at this video, though, and once again, understandable that everybody's going to go to bat for Melinda Adams. But when I watched the video, I saw something right across his forehead, literally right across his forehead. It says, subscribe to the pod, okay? Belt to ass, subscribe to the pod. His question to Melinda Adams was, do you subscribe to the pod? She says no. And he goes, well, you can't ask me any questions then. Then I see subscribe to the pod across his forehead. I'm like, oh, this must be his thing. Well, then we did some research. Here's from a bunch of other interviews that he has done throughout the year.
Y'all subscribe to my podcast? While y'all asking all these questions?
Of course.
Everybody?
We can't miss that.
You have a podcast?
Okay, yeah, I'm cool then. Thank you guys so much. Y'all have a good day. Don't forget to subscribe to the pod. And if you're a kid, listen to your parents. Listen to your parents.
Listen to your parents.
Subscribe to the pod.
Subscribe.
Subscribe to the pod.
Subscribe to the pod. Subscribe to the pod, man.
Good, those are good teammates right there.
So obviously this is his thing. Now, it comes immediately after he throws a ball at a woman's head, and then he says to a lady who is very well respected amongst her peers, have you subscribed to the pod? No, okay, don't ask me any questions. It's his gimmick, I do believe. So I think once people realize that that is kind of his thing, I think they'll have a little softer stance on him saying that to her. But nonetheless, the story of the night is that Patrick Beverley's an asshole. Not that the Indiana Pacers have won a playoff series for the first time in 10 years, and I personally don't love that. I'm not subscribed to the pod, so I will not ask him any questions. I do see the clips. Roan has one of the biggest brains that I've ever encountered in my entire life, so I'm sure it is fantastic, but that seems to be his gimmick. So that one, that's his gimmick. I see the world as wrestling, as WWE. I don't think he did it directly because it's Melinda Adams. He clearly does it
to everybody.
Everybody. But after throwing a ball at somebody's head, then doing that, boy, they can really, you can really piece that together to be this guy's an asshole, which is what they're certainly doing. But that shouldn't be the topic of conversation, Talks the Table. At Boston Connor, at Ty Schmidt, see the dog on your chest. And obviously Patrick Beverley, I assume, would describe himself as a dog. Last night looked like an asshole.
Yeah, it was stupid. And like Pat Beverley, I feel like throughout his career has always been kind of a heel. So like publicly people haven't, loved him. And then last night after the Pacers win, what does Tyrese Halliburton do? He actually quotes teammate of Pat Bev now, Damian Lillard, on a tweet that Damian Lillard had when he was with the Trailblazers, basically talking shit on Pat Bev. So it's not as if Pat Bev is loved, globally, but it does feel like doing something like this, even kind of putting the spotlight on it more, doesn't help. And then if you are someone like myself who hasn't watched a lot of Bucks basketball this year, especially the post-game, press conferences with Pat Bev, and you just see him do that subscribe to the pod thing without knowing he's been doing it all year.
It's his gimmick.
Yeah, this guy's kind of an asshole, but then you learn it's his gimmick. It's like, okay, so that part isn't as much of a big deal. Gunning a ball at a lady, now, look.
That you can't do it.
I don't know how often that's happened at a basketball game. You mentioned it before. Kind of surprising that this didn't turn into
a fight.
Yeah.
Especially with the guy who's wearing a jersey, no undershirt.
Yeah, he was ready to go. He thought about it.
Yeah, he was like, wait a minute, are we fighting right now?
Yeah.
This is a whole thing.
Shocker
and then he gets
there.
the ball back and he throws it back in there. He's been in the league for like 15 years.
Long time.
Yeah, that's dumb.
Yeah.
That is very dumb. But last night the story is that Patrick Beverley ruined what was supposed to be a beautiful evening in Indiana. The lady got hit in the head, bonked in the head. She had a fun time last night.
Oh, yeah.
Probably.
She's A-okay. Now, this morning, we don't know if she has a broken neck, maybe a spinal cord, sternum. I think she even broke her fibula and her knee in this entire incident, but that's for doctors to talk about, not us. But basketball got a little testy, and now the Knicks will take on the Pacers, which is a beautiful thing.